Sean O'Malley shared his thoughts on the potential matchup between Arman Tsarukyan and Ilia Topuria, emphasizing how significant Arman's recent win was for the lightweight division. He pointed out that Tsarukyan has effectively been the #1 contender for quite some time, and with his latest performance, it's impossible to ignore the conversation surrounding a possible fight with Ilia. According to O'Malley, the mixed martial arts world naturally erupted online after the win, with fans and analysts immediately debating whether the UFC will move forward with Tsarukyan versus Topuria. O'Malley made it clear that Arman is an elite fighter who is often underestimated. He explained that Tsarukyan brings a level of skill, athleticism, and relentless pressure that few fighters at 155 pounds can match. For that reason alone, the matchup with Ilia becomes extremely compelling. However, O'Malley expressed doubt that the UFC will rush to book this fight. In his view, the promotion is highly invested in Ilia Topuria as champion, not only for his dominant fighting style but also for his charisma, marketability, and ability to attract a global audience. O'Malley suggested that the UFC likely sees Ilia as a long-term centerpiece for the organization, and placing him against someone as dangerous as Arman could be a risk they would rather delay. Still, O'Malley acknowledged that Tsarukyan poses a very real threat to Topuria's reign. He admitted that Ilia has incredible knockout power and tremendous ability to put opponents away early. Therefore, a scenario where Ilia stops Arman is not unrealistic. But he also stressed that if there is anyone in the division who has the tools necessary to dethrone Topuria, it's unquestionably Arman Tsarukyan. His combination of elite wrestling, cardio, and improving striking makes him one of the most legitimate challengers Topuria could face. O'Malley concluded by saying that whether the fight happens soon or later, it will eventually be one of the most fascinating stylistic matchups in recent lightweight history. He believes that fans deserve to see it, even if the UFC might hesitate due to the competitive danger Arman brings to their current champion. For now, the debate continues, and both fighters remain at the center of one of the most anticipated rivalries in the sport. Robert Whittaker discussed the current lightweight landscape and weighed in on the popular debate surrounding Paddy Pimblett's rise and whether he is ready for a title fight. While acknowledging Pimblett's recent momentum and the excitement he brings to the sport, Whittaker made it clear that the UFC should not rush him into a championship opportunity just yet. He emphasized that Arman Tsarukyan's resume inside the UFC is far more established and contains a deeper list of high-level wins. And that contrast, according to Whittaker, is part of the reason Pimblett needs more experience before entering the title picture. Whittaker explained that Paddy's growth in recent fights has been undeniable, describing it as exponential. He praised the way Pimblett dismantled his last opponent and highlighted how the fight before that showcased new levels of focus and discipline in Paddy's approach. Whittaker believes Pimblett is finally beginning to understand how to apply his natural talent in a more calculated and mature way, something that takes time and repetition at the highest level. For Whittaker, the next step for Pimblett should involve more competitive and demanding matchups against top-tier fighters. He expressed strong interest in seeing Pimblett face Max Holloway, explaining that fights like that are exactly what would prepare him for an eventual title shot. According to Whittaker, those kinds of challenges are necessary to sharpen Paddy's confidence, strategy, composure, and resilience before facing the absolute best in the division. Whittaker also mentioned how thrilling certain matchups could be. He said a fight between Paddy Pimblett and Charles Oliveira would be crazy, and one that fans would absolutely love. Oliveira's aggressive style and submission threat contrasted with Paddy's improved striking and grappling would make for a blockbuster event. He added that even a rematch scenario down the line involving Holloway could become massive. However, Whittaker reiterated that regardless of the entertainment factor, the UFC has to structure Pimblett's path carefully, because skipping straight to a title fight would not benefit his long-term development. Whittaker finished by emphasizing that the lightweight division is full of outstanding contenders and that, in his view, the most sensible next fight for the championship is Arman Tsarukyan. Pimblett can reach that elite tier, Whittaker said, but he still needs a few more defining performances before entering that conversation. Ultimately, he remains confident that Paddy will get there, as long as the UFC continues to build him the right way. Ilia Topuria recently spoke in an interview where he was asked who he would like to face next inside the octagon. Topuria did not hesitate to make his intentions clear. He said that Paddy Pimblett is currently the opponent he has on his mind, and that he would gladly take that fight next. According to him, Pimblett has become one of the biggest names in the sport, and a matchup between the two would be massive for fans worldwide. Topuria expressed confidence that such a fight would produce a spectacular event and leave no doubt about who deserves to be regarded as one of the most dominant fighters in the game. At the same time, Topuria made it clear that his ultimate priority is moving up to fight Islam Makhachev. His goal is to become a 3-division world champion, and he emphasized that the best way to accomplish that would be to challenge Makhachev in a higher weight class. Topuria stated that if the UFC allows him to move up to welterweight, he wants the opportunity to fight Islam there, earn a 3rd belt, and achieve a historic accomplishment never before seen in the promotion. However, he also acknowledged that the UFC may not approve this move right now. If the organization refuses to let him go to welterweight for the Makhachev fight, Topuria says he wants them to create a special pound-for-pound title at a catchweight of 160 pounds. In his opinion, that would be the perfect way to settle the question of who the most complete and dominant fighter on the planet truly is. He said he would happily defend or challenge for that pound-for-pound belt, adding that the fight would attract enormous attention and be a defining moment for the sport. Topuria reiterated that there are many directions the UFC could go from here. If the promotion refuses the Makhachev fight, then the Paddy Pimblett matchup is the one he wants most. If the UFC agrees to let him chase Islam in another division, he is ready for that as well. Regardless of which option the UFC chooses, Topuria expressed full confidence that he will continue breaking records and making history. He closed by saying the future holds many possibilities and he is prepared for any of them. What matters most to him is stepping into the cage with another elite opponent and proving once again why he believes he is the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. A clip recently surfaced online showing Arman Tsarukyan responding to Ilia Topuria's latest comments regarding future matchups and his priorities inside the UFC. Tsarukyan took to social media to address Topuria directly, posting on X with a pointed message that instantly caught the attention of fans and analysts. His reaction read, "Could it be any more obvious that El Pato is doing everything in his power to avoid fighting me?" The comment immediately sparked heated discussion across the MMA community. Tsarukyan has been pushing for a fight with Topuria for months, arguing that he has earned the next title opportunity and that no other matchup makes sense at this point in the division. He has repeatedly emphasized that he is the most deserving contender based on his resume, recent performances, and level of opposition. From his perspective, every time the possibility of a fight between himself and Topuria is raised, the conversation seems to be diverted toward other names or alternative weight class scenarios, which he believes is intentional. According to Tsarukyan, Topuria's recent interview, where he expressed interest in fighting Paddy Pimblett or potentially moving up to fight Islam Makhachev, simply reinforces his belief that the champion is trying to avoid the most difficult challenge available. Tsarukyan did not mince words in his reaction. He clearly feels that Topuria is choosing matchups that are more favorable or more marketable rather than accepting the fight that would pose the greatest competitive risk. In Tsarukyan's mind, that proves that Topuria knows exactly how dangerous he is. Fans responded quickly to Tsarukyan's post, with many agreeing that he deserves the next title shot. Others suggested that Topuria is simply exploring high-profile opportunities and trying to negotiate the most valuable option for his career. Regardless of the perspective, the post has added even more fuel to what is already becoming one of the sport's most heated rivalries. Tsarukyan followed up by emphasizing that he is ready to fight any time and that he has never turned down an opponent. He said he is prepared to face Topuria for the title on any date and in any location, and that if the UFC wants to make the matchup, there will be no hesitation on his end. He finished by stating that champions are defined by the challenges they accept, and that if Topuria really believes he is the best fighter in the world, there is no reason to avoid facing him. For Tsarukyan, the path is simple. Settle it inside the octagon and let the better man win. Arman Tsarukyan reflected on an important moment from his fight week in Qatar and opened up about what he now considers a significant mistake before his bout with Dan Hooker. He explained that during their face-off he accidentally head-butted Hooker, and looking back, he fully acknowledges that it was his fault. Tsarukyan admitted that emotions were running high and the competitive instinct took over in the first few seconds of the stare-down. He said there is a brief period right at the beginning when he feels he cannot completely control himself, and that intensity can be dangerous if it isn't kept in check. He expressed regret about the situation and said that if Hooker had chosen to, he could have backed out of the fight because of the headbutt and still been paid. Tsarukyan emphasized that the injury from the head clash could have been used as a legitimate reason for Hooker to withdraw and take his show money. He acknowledged that the outcome of the fight could have changed dramatically if Hooker had made that decision, and Tsarukyan made it clear that he would have understood the reasoning if it had happened. What stood out most to Tsarukyan was the professionalism and toughness Hooker demonstrated by moving ahead with the fight anyway. He expressed genuine respect for Hooker, calling him a man of honor who chose to step into the cage despite the injury risk. Tsarukyan said that moment proved something about Hooker's character, that he is willing to compete under any circumstances and prefers to earn his victories and losses inside the octagon rather than through technicalities. Tsarukyan didn't shy away from holding himself accountable. He reiterated that the situation was a mistake and something he wishes he could take back. He explained that controlling emotions is critical at the highest level of the sport, and he recognizes that letting adrenaline spike too early can create problems before the fight even begins. He said he has learned from the experience and will be more conscious about managing his aggression during face-offs in the future. Despite the negative aspect of the incident, Tsarukyan highlighted the respect that came from it. He praised Hooker for his willingness to fight and credited him for embodying the spirit of a true competitor. Even though the altercation was unintentional, it reinforced Tsarukyan's admiration for athletes who choose to face adversity head-on rather than looking for an exit. For Tsarukyan, the moment served as both a lesson and a reminder of the mentality required to compete at the highest level of the UFC: respect for the opponent, control over emotions, and responsibility for one's actions.